It was huge, productive, and extraordinarily important 24 hours for President Trump and the deranged hate Trump left. They are spinning out of control beyond even my predictions. Calls for impeachment, vulgar tirades, plans for a 70% federal tax hike, a bill to radically alter the U.S. Constitution. Now, it's only day 2 of the Democratic-controlled hate Trump House of Representatives. The wheels are coming off. It's not a pretty picture. And as you watch tonight's monologue, be sure to ask yourself this important question. We'll be asking questions they never ask in the media. Is what you are hearing and seeing and witnessing, is it good for you, for your family? Is it good for the country we love? We start today with our congressional watch. I've long warned you that in 100 days, the entire country will know what we know, and that is just how radical this new Congress is. And we're getting off to a quick start. Just hours last night after getting sworn in, you have Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib went on a profanity-laced rant while screaming for the president's impeachment. By the way, they filed that yesterday, too. They were in a rush. For what reason, God only knows. Take a look.
People love you, and you win. Woo! And when your son looks at you and says, Mama, look, you won, bullies don't win. And I said, baby, they don't, because we're going to go in there, we're going to impeach the
All right, so do you need any more proof that impeachment was their top agenda item for the Democrats? Remember, they were telling Maxine Waters, just don't say it. Don't say it. We're going to do it, but don't say it. By the way, he'll never get a conviction in the Senate. They need 2/3 of the Senate to get a conviction. It's not going to happen in spite of all the hype, all the hysteria that you're going to be hearing every single day. The media is lying to you. Now, is this what the Democratic Party has become? The media? They hate Trump every second, every minute, every hour of every day. And today, this same Congresswoman doubled down on her dumb remarks, tweeting, quote, I will always speak truth to power, hashtag unapologetically, me. But today, Tlaib was a little too afraid to answer reporters' questions, including SiriusXM Patriots, Kerry Pickett, friend of the show. She asked her directly, and, well, she didn't really want to give an answer. Take a look.
Congressman, do you think perhaps you should have been more civil about your calls for impeachment?
I'm putting out a press release saying I'm now on the Powerful Rules Committee.
I'm saying,
oh Congressman, do you think perhaps you should have been more civil about your calls for impeachment?
You are.
Congressman, do you think perhaps you've been more civil about your calls for impeachment?
By the way, so much about speaking truth to power. Now, Kerry Pickett also got exclusive footage of Tlaib's Democratic colleagues defending this vulgar tirade and supporting the president's impeachment. I warned you, they never were ever going to tell you what the real agenda is. And the fact that the president went out, campaigned, helped a lot of senators, kept the Senate in Republican hands is a huge win for the president. And he didn't lose 69 seats like Obama or 60 seats like Bill Clinton. Clinton lost 8 Senate seats. Obama lost 6. Obama lost 63 House seats. Take a look.
We shall see the results of intelligence committees, hearings, and Director Mueller's investigation. The constitutional standard is high crimes and misdemeanors, which includes bribery and treason, so we'll wait and see.
One of the things you have to understand about impeachment is this. When Rashida or anybody else talks about impeachment, nobody's talking about just do impeachment right now. We know that there has to be investigation. We know that a lot of work has to be done. So I wish the press would not think of impeachment when anybody says it as it's got to be done tomorrow. All of the work that goes into making the determination must be done.
And as we continue our Hannity Congressional Watch, the leader of the hate Trump Democrats, newly crowned Speaker Nancy Pelosi, also defended the, well, impeach the MFer, her new colleague, her freshman colleague. Take a look.
Well, I'm not in the censorship business. I don't think that, I mean, I don't like that language. I wouldn't use that language. I don't, again, establish any language standards for my colleagues. But I don't think it's anything worse than what the president has said. It is, it's really, words weigh a ton. And the president has to realize that his words weigh a ton, too. And some of the words that he used has a direct impact on people's lives. my colleagues' comments do not have an impact on people's lives.
Now, remember I told you on Wednesday, unlike the hate Trump media, we're going to hold all of these people accountable. Now, remember yesterday, Nancy Pelosi, well, she had made this pledge.
Let each of us pledge that when we disagree, we respect each other and we respect the truth.
Wow, that promise lasted an entire almost 12 hours. And while impeaching 45 appears to be at the top of the giddy Democrats, hate Trump Democrats, he's never going to be convicted in the U.S. Senate, no matter how much the phony news media in this country, the hate Trump media, says it's going to happen. It's not. And don't worry, by the way, Democrats are also finding plenty of time for other stupid follies that will never pass. Now, far-left Trump-hater Congressman Stephen Cohen, he's already introduced 2 constitutional amendments. They will go nowhere. He's wasting your time. This is false hope. The media will hype it up, and it'll never happen. One that would eliminate the Electoral College and one that outlaws the president from pardoning himself. Not going to happen. And just as we predicted, they also want their crumbs back. But they didn't tell you that during the election, did you? That's why we now have Hannity Watch on Socialism. Here's our update tonight. In order to fund a plan for the so-called Green New Deal, Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she's now calling, get this, she wants a 70% federal tax rate for the rich. 70%. Now, if you live in New York, you have a 10% state income tax. That's 80. If you work in New York City, that's another 4%. If you live in Westchester or Nassau County, the 2 highest property tax counties in the country, that's 90 cents of every dollar she wants people to pay. But she's saying only 70 cents out of every dollar, or 70% nationally. Take a look.
You look at our tax rates back in the 60s, and when you have a progressive tax rate system, your tax rate, let's say from $0 to $75,000 may be 10% or 15%, et cetera. But once you get to like the tippy tops, on your $10 millionth dollar, sometimes you see tax rates as high as 60 or 70%. That doesn't mean all $10 million are taxed at an extremely high rate, but it means that as you climb up this ladder, you should be contributing more.
That's why the Hannity Watch on Socialism is so important. By the way, one note to the newly inducted Congresswoman, if you will, sworn in. We now have the bottom 50% of wage earners in America. They pay less than 3% of the taxes. We already have what you're calling for on a pretty high level. But that's why Hannity Watch on Socialism, we will update you as events warrant. But that would mean no businesses. No wealthy individual would ever invest, spend money, create jobs in a place where they're taking 70, 80 cents of every dollar. But that's not at all the biggest problem. In the same interview, Congresswoman, she actually compared herself to FDR. She thinks she's FDR and Abraham Lincoln. Take a look.
I think that it only has ever been radicals that have changed this country. Abraham Lincoln made the radical decision to sign the Emancipation Proclamation. Franklin Delano Roosevelt made the radical decision to embark on establishing programs like Social Security. That is radical.
Do you call yourself a radical?
Yeah, if that's what radical means, call me a radical.
By the way, Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez, you're welcome on this program. I'd love to spend an hour talking about your great socialist ideas. And by the way, while she was saying that, other Democrats, they're plotting other radical socialist economic changes. And in our Hannity Watch on the Economy feature tonight, well, President Trump's free market, low regulation, low tax policies, they're working in real time for real Americans. In the month of December, look at this. Job numbers far exceeded all expectations as the U.S. economy for December added a whopping 312,000 new jobs. And for the first time, by the way, in 20 years, we now have real wage increase of over 3% for the American worker. 2018 ended with a record number of Americans in the workforce. Our manufacturing industry posted their biggest job gains in 20 years. Hispanic unemployment is at its lowest point ever. Add to that record low unemployment for African Americans, Asian Americans, women in the workplace, youth unemployment. Our vets are getting jobs in the largest numbers we've seen in a long time. And we are now the largest producer of crude oil in the entire world. That's right, more than Russia and more than Saudi Arabia, the lifeblood of our economy. Have you noticed the price of gasoline has dropped considerably? President Trump is making history every day. The media that hates him will never talk about it because he's keeping his promises. Our economy right now is running on all cylinders. And you probably would know it if you watch fake news CNN or conspiracy TV MSNBC. In fact, most members of the mainstream media, they have the exact same MO as their friends in the Democratic Party. All of these disparate groups, it's all about hating Trump. Every second, every hour, every day, nothing changes, nothing else seems to matter. For example, look at this CNN fake news commentator, what she had to say.
The president he's a whiner. He whines like a baby. He's a liar and he's a whiner. And I think what needs to happen is the Republicans got to go over there and change the president's diapers, Don. That's what this is coming down to, so that he can cut it out, so that the grown folks, the big girls and the big boys, can go around the table, sit around the table, and do what is necessary for this government.
Just imagine for a second a conservative had said that during the Obama years. Now, on the very same show, another pundit even attacked Trump supporters. Now, first we were, of course, clinging to our God, guns, and religion. Then we were irredeemable deplorables. Then we were smelly Walmart people. And now we're all toothless because we like Donald Trump. Those of us that voted for him. Watch this.
The wall has always been a con for Donald Trump's credulous, rube, tin-toothed base. The wall has always been a scam. It has always been a lie. Nothing about the wall has ever been real, and Donald Trump knows it.
Actually, we've been building the wall, but why let truth and facts get in the way of a good narrative to hate Trump? And not to be outdone, a guest on Liberal Morning Joe, once again playing the race card. They've been doing this for 2 years. Take a look.
Look, this is all Donald has left. He has one thing. This wall is not a wall. It is a let's keep America white again. And basically, he doesn't have the economy anymore. This is all he has left, is that one metaphor, that one thing that talks that 39, 40, 41% base that says either the black man or the brown man or the Jewish man or the media man or the banker man is coming to take your life. And you're not in the position you're in because of you. It's because everybody else.
What did I tell you Wednesday? We're in the worst informational crisis this country has ever faced in terms of their fixation on hating the president. We are in the middle of a historically strong economy, strong new trade deals, energy independence, a more peaceful and prosperous world, but the left is obsessed with one thing, and that's what they're going to feed you every hour of every day. That's why this show is different. We like to look at ourselves as a little bit of an island or oasis. And that brings us to Hannity Watch on border security tonight and an update on the partial government shutdown at this hour. A deal to fund the government is facing gridlock in Washington, all because Democrats are fighting tooth and nail against the president's vow to secure our borders with strategic walls and fencing. A wall that Border Patrol agents, as they did yesterday, are asking for. A wall that protects our homeland. A wall that keeps out gang members and potential terrorists. We have a big door for people that want to be a part of our family. And today, the president effectively advocated for this very important issue. Let's take a look.
And that's a very dangerous trick. And they bring children, or even worse, they use children. You know, children are the biggest beneficiaries of what we want to do. Children are hurt more than anybody else. These coyotes, what they do with children. All because we have open borders, because they think they can get away with it. One of the things that happens there is human traffickers. Maybe that's the worst of all, where you'll have traffickers having 3 and 4 women with tape on their mouths and tied up. So the only way you're going to stop that is by having a solid steel structure or concrete structure.
Now, the president also issued this stern warning, telling reporters that he is willing to declare a national emergency in order to get that wall built. Let's take a look at that.
Have you considered using emergency powers to grant yourself authorities to build this wall without congressional approval? And second,
yes,
on Mexico, you have?
Yes, I have. And I can do it if I want.
So you don't need congressional approval to build the wall?
No, we can use them. Absolutely. We can call a national emergency because of the security of our country, absolutely. No, we can do it. I haven't done it. I may do it. I may do it. But we could call a national emergency and build it very quickly. And it's another way of doing it. But if we can do it through a negotiated process, we're giving that a shot.
Now, my message to the Republican Party tonight is this is important. Lives are at stake. We don't want drugs flooding into our country. Human trafficking has got to stop. We can't have a potential where terrorists can walk across our borders, or gang members that want to commit violence, or the drug cartels having access to our country. We've got to protect our borders. It is about national security, even if the 99% of people that want to come in just want a better life. You Republicans got to stay the course. You can't back down. Now, the president's base is now deeply invested in this shutdown. The president has taken a stand, and it's time for the Republicans to do the same. How many more innocent Americans, think about this, would need to die before Democrats that 5 years ago supported building a wall will protect the border? And I'm not just talking about murder. The opioid crisis in small towns and big cities, most of those drugs, especially the heroin with fentanyl, are coming into this country from the cartels. They are targeting our kids. The United States literally has arrested thousands of people with ties to terror organization, gang members, violent cartels trying to cross our borders, along with people that just want a better life. We can have it. We can have legal immigration. Watch this.
CBP has stopped over 3,000 what we call special interest aliens trying to come into the country on the southern border. Those are aliens who the intel community has identified are of concern. They either have travel patterns that are identified as terrorist travel patterns, or they have known or suspected ties to terrorism. So we have 3,000 that we know about. I think what the president continues to make clear is it's our sovereign duty to know who comes into our country. Without any kind of a structure and without changing the laws, we have no way to know the identity of every person that walks across the unsecured border.
Now, Secretary Nielsen is right. It should scare every American. It needs to be taken seriously. And let's not forget border security. It's also about saving American jobs at fair wages. Now, the man who wrote The Art of the Deal, the President of the United States, is standing by. He's been ready to negotiate all through the Christmas holiday and the New Year's holiday. He wants a solution. As it relates to DACA, he's put that on the table, something the Democrats say they want. He's willing to talk about the Dreamers as well. Watch this.
Senator Schumer came out and said that the meeting from his point of view and Speaker Pelosi's was contentious. He also said, you said in the meeting, this is him quoting you, I just want to check, that the shutdown could go on for months or even a year or longer. Did you say that? And is that your,
I did.
Is that your assessment of where we are?
That. Absolutely, I said that. I don't think it will, but I am prepared, and I think I can speak for Republicans in the House and Republicans in the Senate. They feel very strongly about having a safe country, having a border that makes sense. Without borders, I've said it many times, we don't have a country. I hope it doesn't go on even beyond a few more days. It really could open very quickly.
Now, we played the tape. Democrats supported this 5 years ago. Hillary supported it. Schumer supported it. Barack Obama supported it. Apparently, Nancy Pelosi doesn't care, not caring about safety and security of the American people, apparently not caring about DACA recipients that they talk so much about, apparently not caring about Border Patrol agents. They were pelted with rocks and bottles, and she doesn't seem to care about immigrants. She just cares about scoring cheap political points, which is why, arrogantly, she offered President Trump $1 for the wall. I guess she was feeling giddy yesterday. Take a look.
Is there any situation in which you would accept even $1 of wall funding for this president in order to reopen the government?
$1? $1.
So
$1? Yeah, $1.
Now, as you can see from tonight's Hannity Watch, the radical base of the Democratic Party, they are already unhinged. I thought it would take like 100 days to fully understand it. We're understanding it now on day 2. Many on the left, including nearly everyone on every other network, because, of course, it's the hate Trump media, they seem to want a weaker country filled with lofty, surreal, progressive principles, and they're not looking out for the safety of you and your family. But progressive principles come with serious consequences. Not only will have unsecure borders, higher taxes, that leads to economic growth that is stagnant. Open borders, that can lead to death and terrorism and drugs. If progressives take over, the United States of America will drastically be in decline. Is that the America you want? Those are the questions we have to ask. So my humble advice is the shutdown, as much as it inconvenience some people that work for the government, and I hope they get their back pay, it needs to continue straight through the State of the Union and maybe beyond. At the State of the Union, the president, he can take his case directly to you, we, the people. And while the president should support back pay for those furloughed employees, make no mistake, no matter what the president does, he must hold firm on this border wall funding from Congress. There must be no amnesty under any circumstances. Lindsey Graham, he has made a proposed compromise that would give DACA recipients 3 years of a work permit that they might be able to renew down the line. If there's no amnesty and money for the border wall to protect the American people, then they will have accomplished something very important. And by the way, they'll politically benefit for it, but that shouldn't be the reason they do it. If they capitulate, the Republicans, the political damage, frankly, is incalculable. And it will hound a lot of these people, you know, throughout the rest of the Trump presidency. Also, it will have an impact on the 2020 race. The point now is stay the course. Don't back down. This is important for the country.